long time no see.
Long time no see. Welcome to the show.
Thank you again for coming. We are so excited talking about bees.
As many things do these days, it all comes back to COVID, honestly. I was working with Franco at the CFIA, remote, like full-time, and there was just, it was me and my good friend living with me, and we were going insane together, really. And we wanted to figure out a way that we could get out some of our desire to, help things and make the world better. There's a lot of crises we're facing right now, and as it turned out, our honeybee populations is one of them, and our bee populations, as a whole. So, but the problem, of course, was we needed to find something we could do with no land and very little money. And beekeeping is great for that because you don't really need either. So we found a farmer who was very kind and let us use their land. We put a couple hives together, and the rest of the story kind of wrote itself. Bees took over from there.
But I like the technique that you had mentioned to me once, is that you're trying to use the old ways of doing it, like in the 1800s or even before. So try to make sure that the bees have enough of its own honey and for the winter season, instead of taking all the honey away and just giving them water sugar.
So, which should clarify how little I actually know and how much I still have to learn. We faced a lot of troubles this year that we'd be talking to our beekeeping mentors about, who've been doing it for like 15 years. And they were saying like, yep, we have no idea what's going on either. We're still learning too. So it's great like that. But anyway, we had 3 hives going into previous winter. 2 out of the 3 survived. So it's sort of a vibes-based system, if I'm honest. Yeah.
So is it still like a passion project, or are you starting to make a business out of it?
Yeah, this year, because we had mature hives and we were able to harvest a little earlier, we started selling to friends and family. It was a small thing, but we made enough selling our own honey to buy a new queen for one of our hives that needed it. Covered our own expense. So that was cool. It very much still is a passion project. Like I couldn't go full time on this, even if we had 4 times the number of hives, but it's definitely something I wouldn't give up. Like it's such an amazing way to spend 1 day a week in the summer. Like it's magical.
It's great. Tell us about purchasing a queen. Like, how does one go to find a queen? Is there a whole market for this?
Oh yeah, big time.
Amazon? You get that on Amazon, or?
I don't know if I'd trust an Amazon queen, but we, like I mentioned, our beekeeping mentors earlier. It's the folks from Capital Bees, who are actually in Ottawa, local. They primarily focus on queen rearing as their method of making money. They're part of the OMAFRA, the Ministry of Agriculture and whatever. OMAFRA, which kind of covers the beekeeping in Ontario. They have this program, which I cannot remember the name of now, like the Beekeeping Tech Transfer Program, something like that. And that's like trying to get producers to rear queens that are more adapted to Ontario winters specifically. So folks at Capital Bees, they breed them for that, for locality, for hygiene, like in terms of the bees cleaning mites off of each other, and for temperament, so that our bees are very gentle compared to some, I suppose. Yeah. So we literally, when we figured out that we needed a queen, I sent an email to our guy at Capital Bees and said, "Hey, you got any queens?" And he said, "Yep." And we went and picked her up in a little cage about yay big, and stick it into the hive. well, actually, we killed the old queen first, and then rather dramatically decapitated her on the bottom of the hive. Yeah, it was quite dramatic. And yeah, it's a bit of a skill, queen spotting. I'm still quite bad at it. You can get queens marked, like they have a little spot of marker on the back, which makes it a whole lot easier. When we buy the queens, they tend to come with that. But of course, if the hive just produces its own queen or they're unmarked, they are different, and they're different enough from the other bees that you can learn to spot to pick them out.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a bit of a bit of a learned thing.
How long do they live, the queens, usually, or how does that work?
They can live from about 3 to 5 years. Typically, once you get to that 3, 4, 5-year-olds queen, they start to lay a little bit more erratically, and you're going to want to replace them. Sometimes the hives will like rear a new queen and replace it naturally, and you don't even have to do anything. In this case, we had split a hive, one of our mature hives that survived over the winter. During swarming season, we split, and so it reared its own queen, but for some reason, we're not exactly sure why, but she didn't end up getting mated. Like, she was still a virgin queen, which is bad because they can only lay drone brood at that point if they're unmated. So she was laying very erratically in the hive and only drone brood. So
What does that mean? What does that mean to a bee?
Drone brood.
So there's 3 types of bees. There's the queen, there's the workers, and there's the drones. The workers are all female, and they're fertilized eggs, and the drones are male, and they're unfertilized eggs. So if a queen is not hasn't gone on a mating flight, hasn't been mated, she's still a virgin, she can only lay drone brood. Brood being like the eggs and stuff. Yeah.
Right.
And the drones are what, to protect the hive?
The drones are slackers. They're kind of hangers-on. Their only purpose is to, during the summer, all the drones at a certain point of time in the day, they go up in a big cloud somewhere near the hive, and that's where the queens go. If there's a virgin queen who wants to go mate, she goes out and finds a drone cloud, mates, and then she goes back in. But the drones, I mean, once they mate, they're done. That's it. They die.
So they're perverts. They just want to watch and then...
They're drunk perverts.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're lazy because they're drunk, and then they're perverts because they wait to be made.
Wild.
Do they
That's
sting,
crazy.
though? Can they sting?
No.
Still?
They don't have
can't
stingers.
they don't have stingers either.
Yeah.
Wow.
The
They're really
stinger,
useless.
yeah.
They're really useless.
In fact, in the fall, they'll the workers will kick the drones out of the hive because they're preparing for winter, and they say, "All right, you guys are done, and you can't freeload anymore," and they get kicked out of the hive. Yeah.
Is there a way to differentiate them, looking at a worker and a drone side by each?
Yeah, they're also quite different from the workers. The drones are like fatter. They have their heads are different. Like they have their eyes to kind of take up their whole head when you're looking at them from above.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So you kind of learn as you're looking at the hive, like workers are kind of the background noise, and you can see the drones pretty easily. And then you kind of learn to see the queens as well as they're in the mix there. Yeah.
That is so interesting, Willow. I'm fascinated
It
by
really
these.
So do you have some at home too, or do you have your spot, but do you do it at home as well a little bit?
So I live in Ottawa, and in Ontario, because of the Ontario Bees Act, which, for the record, I hate. We're not fans of the Ontario Bees Act. It officially, legally, you can't have bees within, I think it's 30 meters of a property line, which basically means that anywhere in a city, you can't do beekeeping legally. You can if you know your neighbors and they're not snitches, but
or allergic.
Yeah, but no. So we just have our hives out in on a farmer's field.
Wow.
There are places where urban beekeeping is fully allowed. I mean, especially on like rooftops and stuff, because bees only tend to fly at the height that they start at, if that makes sense. Like if you have them in your backyard, for example, and you have a 6-foot fence, they'll fly out, they'll hit the fence, they'll go up to 6 feet, and then they'll keep flying at 6 feet as they search for nectar. So, you know, that's one way that, you know, they're not really going to be interacting with people once they're at that height. They're only looking for nectar. So same principle applies when they're on a rooftop. Is, you know, if they're 2 stories up or whatever, you won't even notice that they're there. So it's actually it's a great opportunity to do urban beekeeping, but unfortunately, the legislation is a bit behind.
So for the hives, does it matter what type of wood? Does plastic work okay? Like, have people played with different materials to fabricate these?
The actual practices of it have not like meaningfully changed for, you know, since like the late 1800s when we figured out movable frame hives. And there's just not much better than wood. Like a good solid pine gets you done. There are alternative types of hives you can get. Not that I have, you know, an insane breadth of experience or anything, but I haven't seen anything other than wooden hives.
Okay,
you paint them and they last for years, right? Like it's just you can make them yourself if you have a wood shop pretty easily.
Nice.
That's after it stung somebody.
Been there.
Yes. Like it dies and then it goes in there and like keeps going.
Oh, that's cool.
What is that?
It's a bee
stinger.
Oh.
One of the things that you want to do when you get stung, because if you're a beekeeper, it's a when, not an if.
Right.
But when you get stung, you want to take the stinger out as soon as possible, because as you can see, they don't inject all of the venom all at once. It actually, the longer it stays in, the worse the sting is going to be. So if you get it out pretty quickly, it's not so bad. But yeah, this is the flow hives I was talking about.
Yeah.
And we decided against them. Like I
It'd be
said,
harder, I guess,
they're kind of solving a problem that isn't a huge problem, at least especially at the scale that we're at. It's more important to be able to get into the hive and look at what's going on than this kind of extraction.
Right.
Okay.
You don't have to teach the bees how to make honey. They know how to do it. It's just you have to make sure that you have to be a good landlord.
Right.
So do you use gas or how does that work? Because I know some of it is toxic and some of it's more natural. How does that work for you? Like, how do you do?
We use smoke. So just, you know, like wood chips and Tim Hortons drink trays and stuff. All natural. A little bit of smoke usually does the trick. The smoke just sort of clogs up their pheromone receptors a bit so that they don't get alarmed. I don't know what that is.
Australian
That's a weird
stingless bees, they're called.
Stingless. Oh, I don't think it produce honey though.
Probably not. It looks disgusting in a way, right?
Yeah, that's
Like
crazy.
That looks like in a garbage
Australian
bin.
stingless bees. Yeah.
Weird.
I don't know.
That was the one I was showing earlier. It's amazing how there are little pockets.
Pollen sacs.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what is that? Those pocket things? It's like their backpack?
They're balls.
It's just sticky parts of their legs, and the pollen just sticks to it, and they'll
right.
They get covered in pollen like head to toe, so to speak, and you can see them sometimes. Like they'll pull it back off of them into those like leg sacs, so like collecting it there, and then you can see in the summer, especially. If you're just looking at the hive, you see the bees going in. Like some of them, they're like bright orange because they've got so much pollen on them. It's very cool.
They really
this one, I thought you liked this one. It's like to keep the predators away.
Whoa.
Oh, wow.
That's amazing.
Isn't it?
Wow.
Have you ever seen anything like that, Willow?
Not from our bees, no.
They're giant.
They
honey
seem so
bees.
coordinated, like they're, I don't know, super in sync.
Yeah.
They flip their stomachs to make this happen.
Oh, really? Eh?
Wild.
If I had to guess, I'd bet that's governed by like pheromone releases, because that's how they work. But that's amazing.
Yeah.
It's like when you see schools of fish, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Really, really cool.
hmm
This one is I don't know, it's supposed to be it's the New Zealand, it's the most expensive honey in the world or something.
Oh,
Manuka.
Manuka. Yeah.
Manuka.
Okay. Could you tell us a little bit about that, Willow?
I'm. It's a very New Zealand specific thing, actually. I think Manuka is a tree in New Zealand. Oops, what did I just do? It's a tree, I think, or a flowering shrub. You can get like varietals of honey from pretty much anything, like blueberries or mesquite or Manuka, and it does change the quality of the honey and the sort of what's present in it, as you'd expect. And Manuka is like it's top quality. I know it's purported to have a lot of like special health effects too. I'm not sure what really that's accurate or not, but yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
But what are some of the health, just generally in honey, that you would say are health benefits?
Like if I have a sore throat, I'll just eat a spoonful of honey or have some in tea or whatever. You can use it on wounds as lip balm. Our beekeeping mentors, one of them, the only like face wash, facial cleanser, moisturizer, whatever that she uses, just honey, just on her face, and she has unbelievably good skin. So it seems to work, at least for her.
I believe it.
Okay.
They're just like packed with, antioxidants.
Lather my face in honey. Got it.
Yeah.
Right.
check. 1, 2, 3.
So Willow, could you tell us about the different textures of honey, the different colors?
I think it's mostly personal preference. So, for example, one of the things that we look out for in the fall is there's a big goldenrod flow. It's like kind of the last big nectar flow that the bees gather. And goldenrod honey specifically is a little bit more prone to crystallizing when it's cold.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, like we'll swap the supers after the goldenrod flow, so that the bees, when they get put away for the winter, they're at the bottom of the hive and they eat the goldenrod honey first, so it doesn't have a chance to crystallize. Like a very specific crop that the bees are all taking from. We don't have a lot of ours. Is just sort of a blend of whatever the bees are going for at any time. I know there's buckwheat honey, which is quite like controversial, I guess. Some people really like it, some people can't stand it. It's very dark. I guess like the stout of honey, I suppose. I met a beekeeper in Mexico who had cactus flower honey, which was very interesting. Yeah, it's sort of like you should go out and sample a bunch, because
Yep. Oh, I love honey for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So then, are there some that are less sweet than others, or the sweetness is always similar?
I think the sweetness is pretty similar, just because nectar is primarily sugar, so it's going to be in there. But
I think the taste is different, because like if you take clovers or buckwheat or something, you do taste a little bit difference.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
This girl has like she's built these honey hotels for abandoned bees.
Wow.
Or like holes in the logs.
Kind of interesting. Probably for those lazy bees there.
Yeah, the drones.
Give them some beer, charge you some haroon.
Yeah.
Right.
It's actually those are super easy to make, those little bee hotels, and they're really important for for native bees, like native bees and wasps and stuff, because there are lots of solitary nest-making bees that just don't have habitat anymore, or people clear away their gardens very early in the spring, and so there's no like hollow sticks and stuff kicking around. So yeah, I'm planning to make maybe one or two of these this spring. So yeah, habitat's important, and honeybees don't get it all done, you know. So we got to help the native bees too while we're at it.
That's a good
Right.
idea.
That's cool.
So what's the benefit of these bees hotels? Like what is that for?
It's just habitat for them. Like the female bees of most native bee species that like use this kind of hotel, they go in and they lay an egg at the very back of that drilled hole, and then they like put up a little wall, and then they lay another egg, and then they put up a wall and they lay another. So it's yeah, it's like their hive, I suppose.
But they won't produce honey though.
No.
They'll just
No,
start to lay the eggs and
Yeah.
get left
This is-
out
Are they-
later.
Are they laying honeybees or drones, or do we know, or a mix, or what?
So it wouldn't be honeybees because honeybees are hive forming, but we have tons of native bees that are solitary bee species in the province. Like we have mining bees and carpenter bees and oh gosh, yeah, we have lots of them. Of course, the problem is that we have fewer of them now than we ever have before. And some plants only can be pollinated by bees like this. Like honeybees either won't or can't.
What's a really cool fun fact for our listeners to hear about bees? What's a cool fun fact you want to share?
There's a lot to choose from. People usually like this one. I mentioned that the drones their only job is to mate and then die. But the two are actually very connected. When they mate with a queen, they like insert, and then the queen flips them upside down, and in the process rips their penis off, which forces the semen into the queen, and then the drone falls to the ground and dies. Yeah, so it's a real like dramatic, I suppose is the word, kind of mating ritual, and the queen can do that multiple times before she's like. And then she stores all of that sperm for her entire life, 5 years potentially of laying. But yeah,
That's crazy.
it's a wild way to go.
Really cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's definitely women rule in that world. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at that. That's a good way to go.
Wow!
There you go.
Flipping.
Oh.
Oh, the good part's gone. Oh, come on.
But we didn't
Yeah.
see it.
Oh.
Oh, there
Yeah,
it is.
yeah, it's coming. It's
Oh.
coming.
There you
Oh, that's
Oh.
it.
There you are.
There you go.
Instant
Oh.
death? Really?
Instant. Right
Wow,
after you're done.
instant death. I
Orgasm
wonder
and
if they
death.
know.
Yeah. Maybe they
Is it better if they don't?
You know,
Yeah.
well, they probably know they reincarnate. That's probably it.
Right.
Gosh.
That's a
This is-
crazy
Who
video.
knows?
It is.
Yeah.
It's
Wow.
amazing they managed to get that on video at all.
That's wild.
Very
It's pretty
cool.
fun.
Thank you for sharing that. I love
So, I gotta ask, like every now and then you hear that the world or the media, they say that there's a huge danger of extinction and no more bees. Is that on par? Is that accurate, or is it there's safe population levels, or what?
So it's complicated. I would say it's mostly accurate, especially when we're talking about native bees and native pollinators. They're in real trouble, not only because of habitat loss, but because of pesticide use. But honeybees aren't native to North America, and they're not, so they wouldn't really be threatened, regardless. But also, just because they're such an important part of agriculture, they're doing pretty okay. The thing that's tough is that there are people, I don't want to like validate myself too much, but there are folks like me who are usually on a smaller scale, although often at a much larger scale than I'm doing it. I only have 4 hives. Some people have hundreds, but there's sort of a difference between this kind of beekeeping where, you know, you cared a lot about each individual hive. You're worried about mite treatments and you're, you know, that kind of thing. And migratory beekeeping. And migratory beekeeping is kind of what makes the industrial agriculture system run.
Yeah,
you know, when the blueberry crop gets ready to go, you're a migratory beekeeper. You have 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 hives. You put them on a truck. You drive them to the blueberry field. For 2 weeks, the bees eat nothing but blueberry nectar. They do that. And when you have 2,000 hives, not only do you not care as much, but also you can't care as much about each individual hive. And so, you know, if you lose, you know, there are crazy numbers in the beekeeping industry, you know, where if you lose 75% of your hives, that's just, you know, that's losses as usual. You buy enough for next year and keep going. But you're making your money off of, you know, farmers paying you to pollinate their crops. So the bees themselves are not as important. That kind of beekeeping is a little less healthy for not only for those specific bees, but also for the sort of ecosystem as a whole, because you know, you're more susceptible to mite. The bees are under more stress. They're more susceptible to mites, and you're not caring as much about their health. So there's more kind of unhealthy bee hives around. So yeah, it is tough for bees these days.
There's a lot of fake honey out on the market too. I was reading all these articles about like the way they market it, and it's like maybe a little bit of honey, but then it's replaced with a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, there's that. They dilute it, or, you know, they say this is Canadian honey, but it's a drop of Canadian honey and a bunch of honey from California or something. And
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. So do you have any tips for people out there to figure out like if it's good honey or not, or like?
Yes.
How do you
know? Don't buy honey from the grocery store. Go find a beekeeper in your community. There is one. I guarantee it. Look around, find that there is somebody doing beekeeping near you who's not doing it on this huge scale. They're not putting sugar syrup in their basement. They're not, you know, synthesizing it in an industrial chemistry facility. They're just doing it in their backyard or in their you know, farmer's field or whatever. And those are the people that you should support. Those are people who are going to give you quality honey every single time. And you know that you know they're taking care of their bees. Yeah.
How could people like get started if they wanted to, like, you know,
if they want to get started in beekeeping?
Yeah, like a little operation. How much does it cost? How much would it cost to start a colony?
We did about maybe not a full year, but like a season, you know, 6 months or so of research beforehand. So we got our feet wet first, and we did some courses with the Ontario Beekeeping Association. Definitely that's a good step to take, is, you know, learn as much as you can before you get your feet wet. And then after that, it is, you know, if it's just you doing it, you should get at least 2 hives so that you're able to compare the two. And, you know, the more hives you have, you're a little bit more able to, you know, if one hive is very strong, you can help out a weak hive, etc. There's 3 of us, so we started with 3 hives. That was, would have been around $2,000 in total, all told, which is not cheap, but is a lot cheaper than a lot of other things. You can get a hive, you know, everything you need in a hive and all of the equipment for around $500 per hive, and then, you know, find a bee rearer in your area, and you can get a nuke for I think we got ours for $250.
That's wild. So beautiful.
It is beautiful though.
So beautiful.
It's so diverse, It's kind of like mushrooms, like so diverse.
Yeah, and really found everywhere. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Jeez.
Risky business.
This is probably cheaper though, It's probably free.
A lot of equipment.
So in the supermarket, a product like honeybee or something like that, like, are there any benefits, or it's completely just chemical and fabricated, man-made?
I wouldn't paint it with that wide a brush. Like, I've bought supermarket honey before, and it's not. I mean, sometimes even they have local producers in there. So, you know, I'm generally pretty trusting about my food, I guess. If it says honey on it in a metro, I'm reasonably sure that that's honey, or enough so that I can't tell the difference.
Right.
Yeah.
But support local is basically the takeaway.
It's just, yeah, it's better.
Ideally.
You know, you're absolutely certain at that point that it's real honey, and
also pricing, like depending on the little jar of real honey, how much would you price that at?
We began selling this year. We were selling 300 grams for $15, which is pretty expensive.
But it's a lot of work, right?
So you can imagine how much like nectar it would take, because nectar is mostly water, to make even, you know, a tiny amount of honey. So yeah, they are hard workers, those bees.
Yeah.
Right. But we also talked about the local bees and the local honey, how that's so much more beneficial because it has the antibodies and histamines and stuff like that for any, you know, sickness.
Mm-hmm.
If you could elaborate on that a little bit, that'd be great.
For sure, yeah. Like, in, you know, whatever area you're in, any honey that you buy from that area is going to have pollen in it from your area. So it is one way of, like, I think, after a certain age, I don't know, I'm not an expert, not a medical expert, but if you feed your baby, you know, local honey, then it's less likely that they're going to get allergic to like local pollens and stuff, hay fever. And that goes for anyone, I think. Also, I do know that some, I guess it depends on which, but there are some brands and stores have regulations where the honey will be heated to a certain point, or it'll be pasteurized, which is not terrible. Like, it is for safety and stuff, but raw unpasteurized honey has a lot more of that like natural antibodies, literally from like the bee guts. Like I said, they regurgitate it and eat it back. So you're getting all of those beneficial microbes in there if it's unheated, if it's raw. So yeah, there are definitely major benefits to buying.
So you're better to make your own. You better to make your own. Yeah, that's so
That's
awesome.
really, really interesting, eh?
I love it.
Thanks again for coming on. Anything else? Do you want to plug anything or something? Or
I am on Instagram if you want to follow me, I guess. If you're in the Ottawa area, I will have honey. I actually still have some honey
cool.
from this past year, and I'll have more later. My Instagram is Willow V Wisp.
You know,
right? How can we go about to buy your honey? Like for us here, I'd love to buy some of your honey.
I got some.
Me
contact.
too.
Yeah, just message me on Instagram or Facebook or something, and I'll we can work something out, I guess.
Okay.
I think I have 3
I
jars.
remember where you live too. I know where you live too, so I can
Frank will swing by.
I'm gonna pick up some honey, some
honey,
real honey.
Yeah,
doesn't get much more local than that.
Right?
Oh, that's it. Eh?
I'm obsessed.
Thanks
awesome.
a lot, Willow. Take care.
For coming on the show.
Thank you so much
for
for
having me.
Love
Bye,
for
guys.
bees. Bye.
Cheers.